What are you doing, Buffalo?
Ah, well, you can really read that. Sun's right here, so, you know. And the dog's got a bark. Hey, pull the cap off, will you? I only have two hands. I probably just got her hand black. Here we go. You ready for this? Yeah, there we go. We got last year on the left, this year on the right. That's what we're doing so far. And the orb. And Becky's home. She went to the grocery store. Oh, yeah. And, hey, give me two of those. Arthritis pain meds. My whole body needs it. I only wanted two, not three. What'd she do? She tries to overdose me. And she got to start back in here. I'm getting out of the way of the door because I think Becky's bringing something in. With the exception of the gloves in there, that's so far the keep. So far, that's bye-bye. She's got one shelf, partially. But there's a whole bunch of little shit in all those trays. Probably 3/4 of what's in there is going to go. Get to the trays behind the bandsaw, and one of those trays is all hard material, which that will all stay. Oh, look. Good morning, Becky. Yep, she's here. Okay. Not that it looks a lot different in here, but there's, believe it or not, 3 palletfuls of stuff that are no longer in here. And that one and that were out here. And that's all the hydraulic stuff that was off the fertilizer box years ago, which was in that tote. That tote is now empty. Yeah, keeping those sides. I'm kind of thinking the box that's on the cotton picker, I want to use it for something anyway. Those could make the sides higher. They're about the right length. Might be a good thing, I don't know. And of course, you got to keep the hay tarps in case you need them. That's an old hydraulic pack that we had on a drop deck equipment trailer. It's actually Williams tank and pump unit for a hoist. But hey, it worked great for what we were using it for. Of course, some old round baler belts. We still use belting for stuff. So both those are empty. I thought there was a third one. What did I do? Yeah, oh, never mind. The third one is underneath there. And wrapped up in that plastic is a spare tire for the big baler. And in those tubs on there is a bunch of hydraulic parts. They're protected from the weather and they're not in the middle of the shop. And wonderful day outside now. We literally got one shower this morning after we got going. Otherwise it was pretty nice. Wasn't in for lunch more than about 5 minutes when it flat out cut loose with almost 1/10 of an inch of rain in about 10 minutes. And it was nice when I walked back out. And now it's like this again. And I got me a handful of stuff to throw into the box on my way by. So I can go get the skid steer and come get some more stuff. And Ty's got stuff in the shop she's taking apart so we can scrap part of it. Oh yeah, and we fed this morning too. That's what I was going to do before it started raining. I was going to put the John Deere away. I'll wait till after it's done raining. I might melt. Full hydraulics set up off an old fertilizer buggy. tank's getting a little deficient on the outside from fertilizer. Hoses are a little deficient for the most part. I think the steering hoses are still alright. Keep the steering valve. Keep the regulator valve. Keep a bunch of fittings. Of course, keep the pump. It's got a 30-gallon pump on it, so. And the rest goes in the barrel. There's actually 2 hydraulic systems here. There's the tank with the 30-gallon pump on it, and the pressure relief valve and the filter. And then there's the steering valve with the cylinder still attached, and I believe that's a General Motors power steering pump still attached to it. Probably just leave it alone. But the other's going to get dismantled and toss the tank. But you got to get the oil out first. So that's what she's doing since I'm holding it for her. Already got that tank emptied. All the fittings are off yet. Kind of keep those things, you know. They're kind of expensive when you got to start buying them. And we already paid for them. Go ahead. Ask her what she's been doing. I dare you. I dare you. Ask her. She's finding out that some of these fittings have been together for a few years.
I made like fucking period. Literally.
The mess she's made in here. And hated to do it, but there was about 20-25 gallons out of that tank. That actually still looked like pretty good oil, but it was oil 303 hydraulic oil, and we haven't used that in anything since probably about the time we used it in that. Because Hytran's better. And last time we compared prices, Hytran was cheaper. And you know, that oil's got to be 35 years old. There's a little bit left in here, I think. Yeah, not much. But yeah, she's just making a mess in here. Saving fitting, saving pump. She didn't get that broke loose yet. Of course, I'm not sure which way she's going. Maybe she's trying to tighten it tighter. She's thinking hard about it. Oh well. Yeah, I may as well end the day with this mess. Yeah. Just gonna leave that intact and put it somewhere. Right back on a pallet, back in the back barn. Take the hoses off the pump. I don't know how much of the hoses we're going to keep. I think all these hoses that are hooked to it, though, they should still be pretty good. And she's got a whole bunch of things to finish taking apart and clean up. And a mess to clean up. Most of that mess. She made a little bit of a mess, and then she had the bucket trying to catch some oil as she was taking the line off and kicked the bucket over. Yeah, you know, shit happens. That black bucket with the red top, that's actually a Hytran bucket, the new Hytran buckets. That has used Hytran in it, because that's what was in one of the hydraulic tanks we emptied. And the other two, I say 303 was in the one, and I mean, we got nothing we can really use it in. All the tractors require Hytran, and skid steer Hytran also, because of the higher pressures, and it's also used an additive. But story time, that thing right there, it's interesting. That is a pump right up there. I believe that may have been set up to run off of something powered off of a truck. I don't know, maybe I have a gas engine next to it. I really don't have a clue on that. And the electric motor, that's got a little bigger pump on it. I was trying to clean the tag off on the motor earlier. We're going to save the motor. Maybe save both the pumps. And there's a flow control in there. That valve right there, it don't budge, so I figure it's scooched. Bunch of fittings. That came off of a hoof trimmer's truck. Guy had I believe it was an International 1-ton with a tilt table mounted on it. He was a friend of a friend. Our friend was our hoof trimmer many years ago, and he had a trailer mounted. And his friend, those guys kind of run in the same circles when they run into each other anyway. His friend got in an accident. I want to say Southern Oregon in the hills. I don't remember. That's been a long time ago. That thing's been sitting there forever. Slid off the road and ended up dying. So our friend ended up with what was left. And we had some of we were going to try to fix the tilt table, and we salvaged some parts off of it. They went, I don't even know where they are anymore. I think we used them to build stuff for other people. And that's what's left of it. So, the end of that. But like I say, I'm reasonably sure the motor's good. Don't see why the pumps wouldn't be good. I mean, they both turn. I already checked that. Well, motor turns too. There's some electric stuff there, especially plug-ins that we can use. Hoses they've been around way too long. And keep in mind, I mean, that thing went for a ride. If I remember right, it was like 200 or 300 feet down into a canyon. So, anywho, that's for tomorrow. I got a couple other things I'm going to try to get tomorrow too. Got that bin, or that dumpster's not quite half full yet. And I haven't got to the other stuff I really want to get in there. And the pile I had down there in front of the fertilizer buggy and big baler, that's all still there. Kind of waiting because that's a little heavier, a little more substantial, so that'll help keep things in. And there's, I don't know, 2 or 3 boxes of old rusty nails and stuff like that that's going to go. Just lots of little shit like that yet. But I think Ty's got enough work here to keep her busy for a month. As long as she can remember righty-tighty and lefty-loosey trying to take stuff apart. But you know what we saved? The hoses, if they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. But relief valve, I mean, I would imagine those are $80 or $100 now anyway, if not more. I'd hate to guess what the frickin' pump costs now for a new one. That suction hose I know is $3-4 a foot at least. Hell, I think that might have been that much back then. That's a pretty good hose. And we put that fertilizer buggy together, God, early 90s? Maybe even late 80s. Hell, I don't remember. And the yellow stuff, little valve there and the big valve there, and a few other fittings over there, they came off a airflow, air boom, whatever you want to call it, fertilizer tank. The rest of that stuff's all in that scrap box out there. But those valves aren't cheap anymore, and those big fittings right there, 2-inch elbow. I want to say the last one of those I ended up buying was down there $25, and that's been a few years ago. And the valves ain't cheap at all either. And there's a pump right there that we had on the old sprayer for the booms. That's all it was for. That came off a 300 Heston swather that we scrapped out a long time ago. Worked great for that. And that's what's with it is filter housing and that stuff. The filter's going to go bye-bye, but we'll keep the housings because, they work for all kinds of stuff. So, anywho, I'm calling it good for the day. See what kind of mess we can make tomorrow. And I haven't even started on the cotton picker yet. I still got to get it drug out of there, and I don't want to literally drag it. I want the wheels to turn, and I got to figure out how I'm going to do that yet. I'm not sure if I can find a neutral position in the transmission where there's no controls for it. That's going to be a guessing by golly. And if I can make it roll, I'll make it roll. If I can move it with a skid steer, I'll move it with a skid steer. Otherwise, we'll drag it with a tractor. So, oh, and I still got that upright bin. I got to knock it over yet. I was going to try to get to that today, but that didn't happen. I spent half the afternoon helping Ty get stuff apart and draining tanks and that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's way too long of me talking. So thanks for watching. Hope everybody had a great Saturday, and I hope you all have a great Sunday.